Hello everyone, I hope you're having a great day. I'm popping on today to talk about setting boundaries, selfish, selfless and selfful, what they mean, and also how setting boundaries not only helps you but benefits your loved ones as well. So a lot of the time when we're trying to set boundaries, it can be quite difficult when you're talking to others and trying to communicate those boundaries, especially when you feel that the other person has kind of overstepped a boundary or a mark, or you're not comfortable with something they're doing or saying, or how things are kind of rolling out. So that ickiness that you feel, that is totally normal, and just understanding that we can have tools and techniques and ways of communicating that can make setting those boundaries feel a lot better. Now, when you are trying to set boundaries, not many people like change. So if something has been going along for a certain amount of time, they get used to that being the way it is, and then you're introducing a change and people can be quite uncomfortable with that. Oftentimes people can say, when you're trying to set boundaries for yourself, for your own well-being or your wants or your desires, often that can be seen as being selfish. Now, it's not selfish in the slightest to set your own personal boundaries, because being selfish is all about thinking about you and nothing else outside of you, so only you benefits. And then you have this concept of being selfless, which is to not set any of your boundaries, and that's when your concerns or your focus is on everyone external to you and nothing to do with you. Now, there's this other term, self-fullness, which is actually kind of like an honoring of yourself, or an acknowledgement or recognition of your own personal needs, wants and desires, and putting those steps in place to care and honor them, but also at the same time understanding and acknowledging the needs and wants of others around us, and kind of acknowledging that we all make up this together. We are all in co-creation with this together, and we're all interlinked in global oneness, you could say. So that's kind of like a mindfulness of yourself, and the way it benefits others is, okay, I do this. I've just got back from my yoga class, and at the start of last year, I started doing yoga, and I felt really guilty going to yoga class because it meant that I couldn't drop my children off at school, and that my husband would go and drop the children off without me. I felt really guilty. I felt like maybe I wasn't being the greatest mum, because I was putting my needs for, caring for my spirituality, for my mental wellness. I felt that because I was putting that as a priority, I was being selfish. But then I realized it really wasn't, because when I go to these yoga classes, it helps me in so many unbelievable ways that I can come back and I can be a better mum than what I would have been if I had just stayed and taken my children to school. And it's almost like this soul feeding stuff. So when you need something within you. For me, I needed time away to be with myself, my own thoughts, and have a bit of introspection. And I love the fact that yoga helps me with some of my injuries that I have as well. So that's something that I needed. And I recognized that. But then what I didn't do was I didn't put a boundary down. And sometimes I would go, but then other times I would take the kids to school, and it was kind of wishy-washy. But that still didn't sit well with me, because I knew that I needed this one day a week out to really focus, like give myself a good length of time, about an hour or an hour and a half, on just me. So at the end of last year, I really communicated with my husband that this is a non-negotiable for me. I need to have this time so I can go away and I can be a better mum, I can be a better me, I can be a better wife, I can be a better everything. And that's how others benefit in my household and in my extended family from me taking time out to care for myself and my wellness by setting that boundary. And at first my children, they're quite young, they didn't quite understand why mummy wasn't taking them to school. And so I explained to them that, you know, I'm a person too, and that's something that they actually say to me. I'm a person too, and so that's a term that we use. I'm a person too, and I'm an individual, and I have individual needs, wants, and desires that are separate to you. And by me communicating that with my children, it then makes it okay for them to know they can choose to prioritize and set boundaries that help them as well. So it's a little bit about role modeling as a mum. It's a little bit about, you know, listening within yourself about the things that you need and want. And that comes with alignment. So just quietening your mind, and listening to what your body says, listening to what you feel you need, and then being able to communicate that in a respectful way, in a comfortable way, which basically shares that everyone benefits from this new boundary I'm setting. And something I have really recognized with a lot of people is there is this real avoidance with setting boundaries and uncomfortability with setting boundaries, all the way from you know, not even knowing what your boundaries are, just knowing there's some kind of uncomfortability or dissatisfaction with what the boundaries currently are. And then all the way to knowing what the boundaries are, but not being willing to actually sit down and have that conversation with that person to lay them out. So what I have done is I have created a free PDF downloadable, which you can have if you subscribe to my email list. So that is available to any of my subscribers. So I put the link in the description. So please feel free to subscribe. You can have that downloadable, and it gives you my 3 really simple steps to, you know, comfortable and confident boundary setting. That one is about how to align and set boundaries. Now, for those people who are my subscribers, I'm also going to be offering a webinar on Friday at 10 to 10:30. So it's a half-hour webinar, and that's going to be diving deeper into 3 steps to confident and comfortable boundary setting. So it's a really good idea to get that downloadable, have a look over it, and see how that fits with you, how it all works. Then on Friday, come to the webinar, which I'll talk about it in a little bit more depth. And I have also got a Facebook event for that particular webinar, so I pop that in the description as well. I would love for you to come along to that. And that's about it from me. I have taken up a lot of your time, and I'm going to get back into work. So I hope you have a lovely day. If you have any questions about boundary setting, about you know, aligning to get some of those things, or recognizing those feelings in your body and what that might mean, message me. I'm happy to send you information. I'm an open book. So enjoy the rest of your day. Much love to you all. Bye-bye.